down from their military exercises in Russia along the southern border. Uh, you know, there are certain things to know. Of course, Biden is up there saying, well, we haven't confirmed this. How hard is it to confirm this? Allegedly, we've got all these, satellites for military purposes and things like that. You can't look at the satellite images and see all the, tanks and equipment on the railhead that only goes back into Russia, that has no connection into Ukraine, anything like that. What does it take to confirm this? It's absolutely ridiculous. And he says, and Biden says, well, they could still invade, and the spokeswoman for the Kremlin has said that they have shown American propaganda for what it is. They have defeated the U.S. without firing a shot. And that means it's all over. It is over. This is over. There are people saying, well, they could still invade from Belarus. They've got 30,000 people, troops in Belarus. The terrain would not be conducive to an invasion. There's not more equipment. It's not being moved from, the southern Russian border into Belarus. So they don't have a buildup that's happening over there. Even the Ukrainian military spokesman said, no, invading from Belarus is highly unlikely. It would not be something. Even coming across that terrain would, destroy equipment and be extremely difficult, making any movements slow and ineffective. So, and coming from Belarus would be so far from Kiev that there would be no point. Anyway, there has also been this criticism that Russia is moving the troops and equipment that are further from the border first. Okay, so if you conduct a valid military exercise, you do it to emulate exactly what would happen in actual warfare. So in actual warfare, you have different lines of offense and defense. You don't put everybody all in one line. So as you draw down from a simulated, combat scenario, a conflict scenario, you would not move your front line back, which would draw all of your, troops and equipment into one solid straight line that would be easy to attack in case your enemy is still hostile. You don't want everybody all in one line that would be easy to take out, all at once. So what you do is you draw draw back your rear defenses first. And they've only got a certain number of trains, to transport this stuff. So what has to happen is that they load up the equipment from the rear and take the equipment back to their starting point, and then the trains come back, and then the front line. This may happen with, numerous trips and numerous trains that are going back and forth on the same rails. So, first you evacuate the rear, and then and in a real combat scenario, that would be evacuating your hospitals, your main hospitals, and medical equipment, and food, etc. And then the front line, which would still be your defense, because you're not going to leave yourself without a defense as you draw back. So then you load up what was your front line onto the equipment, onto the trains, and then you remove your front line back to their starting point. This is how military movements actually work. So all of this is just propaganda. If our military experts don't know this, I only reach the level of specialist in the Army, and I know these things. If our generals, our president, our Secretary of Defense, if they don't know these things, then there's something seriously wrong. But they do know these things. And it's all propaganda. As I record this, they've claimed that Russia is going to invade at 3 a.m. Ukraine time. As I record this, it is 28 minutes until 3 a.m. in Ukraine. And, so the Kremlin put out a notice. Putin said, well, set your alarm if you want to be awake for it. This has absolutely made our government as a whole just look completely idiotic. We've gone through this country, the presentation that we have made to the rest of the world. We, as a country, look like idiots. We've gone through 4 years of Trump, elected a man that confused his wife and his sister and didn't know what office he was running for. Could not name the Australian Prime Minister, the guy from out back. What? This country looks completely idiotic in front of the rest of the world. All we've got are guns and bombs and movies about guns and bombs and TV shows about guns and bombs. That's all we have. And yet, all that about guns and bombs, and they don't know how military movements occur. they can't confirm anything. That's not saying a whole hell of a lot about our satellite imaging, is it? If they cannot confirm it, that the Russian troops are evacuating the region. No, we haven't confirmed that. I think I'd be right up on that, don't you? Anyway, this is all coming to a close by tomorrow morning. Then our government, our warmongers, our corporate media, run by the military-industrial complex, is going to have to come up with something entirely new. So, barring a false flag attack from the West, this is over. The crisis period is over. There's no reason to be all amped up about, oh, there's a Russian buildup along the Ukrainian border, because there's no longer a buildup at the Ukrainian border. That means they're going to actually have to start talking. So, share this video. Talk about these subjects. If you can afford it, then please donate $1 a month to help expand the channel and the website. And be sure and sign up at issuesunite.com. And I will catch you in the next one. Hope you have a good night without going to global war.